Hello everyone, and welcome to this Coffee and Conversations from GFD on assessment. What assessment is and why we do it. Of course, assessments are here, and we've got a number of different questions and worries about assessments, so we thought it's important to do a little video to make it clear what these assessments are, what they're not, and why we do them. So first of all, assessments are ways in which we measure how well your child or children are doing. How well they've understood and learnt the key facts and what we call substantive knowledge, and how well they can apply it through skills. Now, of course, we assess them every lesson, we call that assessment for learning, but these assessments are summative. They give us a score, a number, a percent, which measures how well we're doing. And we look at that both at the individual, the class, the year group, and the phase, so that's multiple year groups together. There are internal and external assessments generally. Internal are those set by teachers, so we're looking at the internal ones with this assessment week, and external ones are set by companies outside of the school, like GL with our reading test, our new group reading tests. And they are done so we can compare internationally as well as across schools. So there's a place for both. This assessment week is internal assessments. In the UK system, the key external assessments are GCSE and A-level. GCSE or IGCSE will allow our children to apply for sixth form destinations, will allow them to take the A-levels that they wish to do. A-levels will allow them to apply for their university of choice or their college of choice. So these are really important high stakes assessments. Internal are not. Now, assessments can lead to anxiety. And that anxiety can exist in parents just as much as it can for children. And whilst we know a little bit of anxiety, wanting to do our best is important, as with parents we want our children to do the best, too much can be detrimental. And being stressed and worried is not what we're about, as well-being is at the heart of our mission. So why do we do assessments when they can cause anxiety and stress? Well, for students, they allow them to understand how well they're doing. That's really important. For teachers, it allows us to plan. It allows us to know where things are going well, where we need to put in extra intervention, more support, and where things are going well, and we can share that best practice to make sure that we're doing as well as we can across the board. And for parents, it gives you feedback so that you know where your children is doing really well, and it also allows you to know where they need to focus their efforts. Essentially, these assessments are to help us as a school to monitor, to identify where we can help more, and to plan those interventions, to plan the resources that we have to make sure they're delivered and supporting the children that need them the most. They are not high stakes assessments. They're not going to determine your child's future for GCSE or A-level. It's not going to stop them progressing into the next year, but it is going to allow them the understanding to know what's worked for them with their study, where their efforts have been rewarded. And it also allows them to know, well, actually, I need to do this and this differently to improve. And for the younger ones, it might mean that actually, it means I'm going to get a bit more help and support with certain aspects. So what I've asked our heads of school to do, I've asked the fantastic Mrs. Lisa and Mr. Paul to give a little bit more information about what the resources look like and how you can prepare as parents at home. Please don't worry. Please come and ask your classroom teacher for extra help if you need it. And please make sure that anxiety is just a tiny bit amount that's going to allow your child to see this as important, and not so much that you and them are going to get stressed and worried, because these are not high stakes assessments. Thank you very much, and over to Miss Lisa.
Thank you, Mr. Tom. So just to give you the context about how we prepare in primary for our students during assessment time, you will have the link to the Family First communication Padlet, and on there there'll be a wealth of information at the tip of your fingers. Now you will find, as I've shown on a screenshot here on the PowerPoint, that there is a column identified as assessment. In there you will find all the key information with regards to when assessments are happening for your child and in their class per subject, also what assessments are taking place, and also how you can help your child with links from the letter to show you exactly where to go. Now, just to put that into context, moving on to the next screen, we have curriculum booklets. In those curriculum booklets, we identify what your child is being taught each half term for every single subject. In those curriculum booklets, and as you can see on the screen, there is a box which has resources and it has a QR code. If you click on that QR code, it will take you to a wealth of different resources which will support your child's learning in that particular subject. Additional to this, we also have a column on our Family First Padlet which says additional resources, and in there's a wealth of English and maths resources if you want to upskill your child, and you can have access from FS all the way until year 9. So there are additional resources, but if you want specific to what your child is studying, please do click on the curriculum booklets and click on the QR code shared with you, and that will take you through to additional resources. We also do have our learning platforms such as SentryTech. We also have Oxford Reading Buddies, and we have Oxford Owl if you want to support your child's reading and individual learning path. But for particular assessments that the children sit, we have those resources there. Just to give you the context of how we inform our report data that you will receive on your child at the end of this academic year or at the end of this academic term, it is a wealth of different information. So it's a snapshot from what we have from this assessment cycle. It's their work in the classroom, their response in the classroom, their work in their books, and that the teacher gives an overall comprehensive grade about where your child is in relation to year group expectations. I'm going to hand over now to Mr. Paul, who'll give you more information about assessments in secondary.
Hi, it's Mr. Paul, Head of Secondary. I'm going to build upon what Miss Lisa said with our assessments, just so you've got all of the details and instructions on how to make sure that your children are prepared for their end of term assessments. As a reminder, they are not high stakes assessments. There isn't a pass, there isn't a fail. These assessments won't go towards contributing towards any sort of applications for sixth form or university or GCSEs. So please make sure that you see these assessments as an opportunity just for us, your children, the teachers, to get a sense of what they've learned well and what they haven't learned as well, and that will help us to improve their learning over time. We will do these assessments 3 times throughout the year, and they're just all about assessing, learning and growing. Now, to help your children in preparing for their secondary assessments, like primary, we've also utilised the Padlet page. The teachers and the heads of subject have been busily preparing curriculum booklets, and on those curriculum booklets you'll see details about what the students will be assessed on and ultimately how they can revise and prepare for their exams. So I just talk you through this slide. The first thing for you to do, if you haven't done so already, is to access the GFD secondary Padlet page. From here you will see 2 really important sections. You'll see the date for the diary, and if you click on there you will see the assessment calendar for November 2025 with all of the dates of all the assessments for each of the subjects. They're all in there too. And you'll also see another link called Curriculum Booklet / Revision Materials. If you click onto that page, you will see access to the curriculum booklets. I'd like to just talk you through now those 2 different sections. So the assessment calendar, as I said, details the assessments on the different days for the students. And just it's also important to know that for the Arabic and for the Islamic assessments, they are included on the Islamic and Arabic Padlet pages, so all the details are there too. For all other subjects, you can capture them there. Now, when you click on the link to curriculum booklets, it will load up a curriculum booklet that looks like this. It will say the term in the corner, it will tell you what units and learning objectives and key vocabulary students have been learning and will be assessed upon, and there'll also be a link either to a web page or, in most cases, to a QR code. Now, the example I've used here, I've chosen maths. If you scan the QR code with a phone or a tablet, it will open up a further Padlet page with access to lots of resources for the different year groups, for the different subjects. So, for example, in the maths example here, you can see year 7, 8 and 9 with link to core bit maths and all the topics that students have been revising and studying. You can click the link, revise, watch videos and be prepared for their examinations. So the place for you to go to access all of the resources is the secondary Padlet page. Click on the curriculum booklet / revision and then access along the right hand side years 7, 8 and 9 revision materials. They'll be really helpful in preparing your students and your children for their examinations, and they're really easy to use. A further tip I would recommend is maybe purchase a notepad so that they can make some notes and you can keep that with them throughout their revision. And I'd also advise that students do between 30 and 45 minutes each night, making sure they get a good night's sleep and they don't cram too much information into their brains the day before an exam. So a reminder, these are internal assessments. The data is only shared internally and with you in an end of term report. Please encourage them to see that they're important, but they're not life-defining, and let's all work together to ensure that our children feel confident and happy, are able to demonstrate the learning and also learn from some of their mistakes. Thank you.